Hey everybody, welcome to About Ukraine. And in this video, I'm gonna share with you guys how I ended up losing $1,000 and then my $4,000 car by trying to import it to Ukraine. It all started back in 2013 when I realized that I should, take the car over to Ukraine and check it out how it will happen. I was planning on moving over there, and maybe I thought it would be possible to either sell it or maybe sell it for parts and maybe see what happened. My car was 2001, I believe, Audi A8. To start the process, I had to look over the different brokers that would be shipping the car over. The way it works is that I would have three options. Later I found that out, that I could either ship the car from Montreal, and it would go into a port such as Bremerhaven in Germany, or in Portugal as a port, or another option would be to get it shipped to Odessa, and that's the easiest, right, because it would be in Ukraine right away. But the disadvantages of getting it shipped into continental Europe was that I would have to pick up the car myself or hire somebody to drive it all the way across Europe to Ukraine, to the border of Ukraine, more exact, so that it can be unloaded there and I would take it over. The broker strongly advised against bringing the car into Odessa because of corruption, because of unreliability, because of the fact that I think only like a few ships ended up going there a week. None of them would be leaving from Canada. Car will be shipped into Bremerhaven, and then I'm gonna pick it up from there and then drive it myself across Europe because I thought it was gonna be the cheapest. When the car was on its way to Montreal, I bought a one-way ticket to Bremen. When I knew when the ship will be at the port, I booked my ticket for that date to Bremen, a one-way ticket. I flew there, then I got into a cab, and I went to the train station. From the train station, I went to Bremerhaven, and then from that train station, I took another cab, and I went directly to the port. And at the port, I think I waited half a day there. Well, they had to collect all the documents. They had to give me like a whole list of things that I had to pay. I had to pay for some things like the unloading fee, the cleaning the container fee. There's a bunch of forms that I think one of them was a T1 form that I had to fill out and pay for it. And that took like, most of that took like half a day. Then after that, in order to pick up the car, and drive it away from the port, I had to pay the customs fee. The customs fee that I had to pay at the port was like the customs for the car in continental Europe. So when I left Europe and I entered Ukraine, I would get that money refunded, and that was about $1,000. That was the customs fee for the car. The other fees were about $1,000, I believe, for the shipping of the car itself on the container, because the container cost $1,000. Then there was I think it was about 300 euros for the container for the workers at the port to unload it and all that kind of stuff to move it around. That was 300 euros, plus about 200 euros for container cleaning, like other miscellaneous fees, and then another probably like 100 euros for the documents and stuff. So I think all in total it was about $1,700 or so, more or less. And on top of that was the $1,000 fee for the customs. So I got all my documents. I started driving to across Europe, and then I realized that, well, first of all, the car wasn't in that good of a shape and had bald tires. I actually dropped the car from a jack once, and I think there was alignment issues. The frame was, I think the frame was okay, but maybe it wasn't. I wasn't 100% sure. But the car was definitely had alignment issues, and the rear tires were bald. And then as I was going on the autobahn, I had a blowout. So that was pretty frustrating, because I was just outside Berlin. I think that before I entered Berlin that happened, and then I had to go to like a village where I had to order another 2 tires, which was another like $2,000, plus I had to spend some time in a hotel, mini motel of some sort. So after that, I was on my way to Ukraine, and then the rest of the next morning, I think I didn't really have any issues because everything was fine. And then as I went to the border, I obviously it was the first time I crossed the border in Ukraine, like the ground border. And here I am with a car, and the car's plated with Ontario plates. It's just nobody really understood what was going on. And I really tried to hurry along. I think it was something like 5 o'clock in the morning or 4 o'clock in the morning. It was really, really, really early. That is how I lost my $1,000, because I never presented the document at the Polish side of the border between Poland and Ukraine, where I could have easily had to fax that to the customs office in Bremerhaven, and I would receive my money back through via money order or something like that. And I didn't do that, and then I lost that document, and then I went back to the border. I was in Ukraine for a little bit. I went back to the border in a car to that same crossing that I entered, and I tried to talk to those people, but I realized it was sort of like I was barking up the wrong tree. The ship has sailed. That was it. I was not able to get that money back, and then I talked to my broker, and he also explained to me that was it. So that was like a really painful lesson for me, I think. This happened, and I ended up driving the car for a bit. I had to, obviously I had to cross the border once in a while, but that car I really could not even sell it for parts. I couldn't really get it. I couldn't get it on Ukrainian plates. I couldn't get it registered in Ukraine. That was a big issue, and because of that, I had to just pretty much give the car away. And that's it. That's my story of how I lost my $4,000 car plus the $1,000, so I lost like $5,000 in total on this ordeal. But it was an interesting experience, and I really learned a lot when it comes to importing a car, like all the customs issues, all the little things that you have to really pay attention to in order not to screw up. So basically, what did I learn about importing the car? Well, first of all, I didn't understand the whole seriousnesses of it all. I should have learned and went across all the documents before I was presented with them, and I should have not rushed the whole process. I should have actually took my time and understood everything that I had to do. Obviously, the most important thing here was to actually get to the Ukrainian border and knew what I had to do, how I had to behave there. That actually brings me to my third point, because I think that I actually, in the process of doing this whole process, I learned a lot. Especially when it came to dealing with the customs officials, of what to do, what to expect from them, kind of how to interact with them. Like, all of that was an invaluable lesson, I think, that I got from this whole thing. Imagine having a car on foreign registration in a country that's 5,000 miles away. Brought up a lot of questions from the police, from customs officials, from everybody, and trying to explain it to everybody was actually a pretty interesting experience. And basically the whole process helped me grow. It helped me understand, I suppose, human nature. It helped me talk to people on the spot. And the reality of it is, I think if I brought the car over into Germany or France, I would have had a lot more problems. I would have had a lot less understanding customs officials, because I know how it's done over there in the West. I think I would have a lot more issues, and maybe I wouldn't even be able to drive the car there at all. I know how stringent the German TUV inspection is and all of that. To wrap it up, I think doing something that nobody ever does, or nobody would want to do, I think it's a great way to learn a little bit about yourself, to learn new things, really. Hit the like, subscribe, and until next time, guys.